every now and then when you're adding and subtracting rationals which have uncommon denominators, there's a shortcut that appears. And I want to use this one as an example. If you look at the denominators, 5x minus 6 phi and 6 phi minus 5x, those are different denominators. They are uncommon. And what you might, as your first try, think of doing is multiplying each side, or each fraction, by the denominator from the other fraction, okay? And this would not be incorrect. I want to make sure you understand this is a legitimate way of doing this, but it's certainly not the easiest way of doing it. And I would rather do the easiest way of this problem. So, yes, you can go ahead for an exercise if you're interested and work through this. It'll all be fine, but let's try something a little simpler, okay? I want to point out something to you. Maybe we should try factoring before we get too far into this. Let's try factoring on the left side, and I don't see anything to factor on the top, and I don't see anything to factor on the bottom. There's no common factors. There's nothing to do. And we come over to the right side, and it's the same story, nothing to factor. And you might go and write the bottom right denominator the same way. But let's just try something else. Humor me now. Factor out a -1. And the reason I'm choosing a -1 here is because I suspect there's something going on that is really simple if we can see the trick. See this -6 phi? It's a positive 6 phi over here. And if you look at the other one, it's a 5x on this side and a -5x over here. Well, it looks to me like they're only off from each other by a factor of -1. So let's go ahead and try to factor that out. If I divide 6 phi by -1, I get -6 phi. And if I divide -5x by -1, I get positive 5x. Well, now look. These two denominators are, well, not that -1. These two denominators right here are actually common. So we don't need to go ahead and multiply by factors on each side. We just need to deal with that -1. And I'll just point something out to you. What's 1 divided by -5? If you plug it into your calculator, don't you get the same result as -1 divided by 5? Point is, it doesn't matter whether your negative sign is on the bottom or on the top, okay? Or, if you prefer, you can think of it this way. I'm going to take that 1 over -5 and multiply it by a crazy 1. My crazy 1 is -1 over -1. And that produces a -1 over positive 5. Okay, so let's take that negative sign and move it up top. This will give me -6x minus phi over 5x minus 6. The original unblemished fraction from the right, from the left. And now I'm going to add -1 times 3x minus 2 phi. Okay, I moved that -1 up top. And now what I have on bottom is the exact same denominator. So now you can really just combine these things. There wasn't any foiling necessary. Okay, 5x minus 6 phi. And we just group up our terms on top. I've got a -6x over here, -3x over there. Okay, so that makes -9x. And it looks like I've got a, let's see, what do we have here? A negative phi and a positive 2 phi when you multiply it by that -1. So that becomes negative, positive, that becomes plus phi. And there's nothing else to cancel out at this point. We have simplified this into a single fraction, and that is where we stop.